Ladies, gentlemen and graduates, welcome to this Birmingham City University Awards ceremony. This is a formal ceremony, but we do want you all to enjoy yourselves. Please clap and cheer as loudly as you can, and feel free to take photographs, whilst making sure you don't block the view of those around you. If young children get restless, please take them out of the hall and door stewards will show you to a viewing room where you can still see the ceremony. Finally, please turn all mobile phones to silent during the ceremony. Now, as the processions enter the hall, please stand.
I declare this congregation open. Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and of course our graduates. As Vice-Chancellor of the University, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you all to this awards congregation this afternoon. It's great to see so many of you here this afternoon with your family, your friends, your partners, and what I hope you agree is a fantastic setting here in the Symphony Hall to celebrate your achievements today. One of the greatest pleasures that I have leading a university is to participate in these ceremonies. We have a whole week of them this week, 2 a day, and they're absolutely fantastic events because this is essentially what we're all about in the university. From the day you applied to study with us, everything we have done together has led to today. It's a day that we can celebrate the completion of your studies and, of course, your success. This has been my first full academic year as Vice-Chancellor at Birmingham City University, and what a year it has been for the university. We opened the Parkside building, the new state-of-art Media and Design Centre in the city centre, and we've now started the second building on our new campus development in the city centre, the Curzon building, which will open next year, continuing our process of relocating into the centre of Birmingham. We also launched the Birmingham City University International College in partnership with Navitas, which will enable more international students to come through that college into the university into the future, helping us to internationalise the university. We've also been making a big contribution to schools and education in Birmingham as a whole, and we sponsored our first city school, the City Road Primary Academy, as part of Birmingham City University Academies Trust. And we held our inaugural Inspired Festival, which basically brought together all of the creative and cultural graduates' work from all of our creative and cultural courses into a single festival celebrating their talent. And this year we continue to expand our student numbers as more and more students decide to apply to come to your university, Birmingham City University. So hopefully we'll continue to follow the success that you've brought to us already. And one of the other highlights over the past year was the Extra Mile Awards, where we worked with students and staff to actually identify those students and staff who had really made that exceptional contribution to the university and our community. We had over 650 nominations of staff from students, and I can say one of our colleagues on the platform today, Simon Walker, a senior lecturer in radiotherapy, and I know there are radiotherapy graduates here today, won the award for the most engaging and inspiring teacher of the year here in the university. A great achievement because that's what students recommended. And you can read more about the Extra Mile Awards in your brochures this afternoon. This year, the university also set out our vision for where we want to be by 2020. The cornerstone of that vision is transformation. We'll be seeking to transform our university. We'll also be transforming practice as a result of the research and the knowledge transfer that many of our academic staff can make and contribute to the world of work, to business, to the professions, and to the health sector. And we'll also help to transform this city and the region, again, through the contribution we can make through providing most of the healthcare workers, most of the teachers, many of the professions, as well as all of the knowledge. And through our teaching, through our support, and through our practice focus, we hope to transform our students. And as you cross this stage today, I think you'll be a living embodiment of that transformation. Graduates, this is very much your day. It's a day to reflect on your time with us as a student, your experiences both in terms of your studies and indeed as part of your personal life and your personal development. It's also a day to celebrate the things that you've learned and the friendships that you've made while you've been here. And of course, it's a day to really, truly feel proud of yourselves for what you've achieved. It's also a day to look forward. It's not just about looking at the end, seeing this as the end of your studies, but it's about the beginning of the next chapter of your lives. And as you move on to new things, all of us on this stage are fully aware of the challenges that you face in what still continues to be quite a difficult economic climate. The job market is rather tough, and it continues to be tough. But we know that you're prepared to meet those challenges. The skills that you now have are a product of the university's distinctive focus on professional and creative practice. We set out not to give you just knowledge, but also practical and real-world experience. We're very proud of the applied and practice-based form of higher education that we focus on here at Birmingham City University. We believe that it's relevant to the needs of the economy, our society, and indeed our students. Your experience has also been informed by highly applied and, in some cases, world-leading research and scholarly activity from our academic staff, many of whom are sat on this platform celebrating with you today. It's also been co-designed and shaped by employers, practitioners, and as many of you go into social care in the health service, by those services themselves, constantly helping us to reshape our courses so they're relevant. And as a consequence, that they are nationally recognised by the very employers that you hopefully will work for. And also, our programmes and courses and our experience has been shaped by you. We're a university that is known nationally for the active engagement we have with students and how we work in partnership with students. So today, I'd also like to thank you for your contribution to the university. You've helped shape our courses, you've helped sharpen our thinking, you've helped us improve everything we do in the university. So thank you for everything that you've contributed to the university over the past 3 or 4 years. This afternoon, we're celebrating the success of our students graduating from the Faculty of Health. Perhaps more than any other group of students at our university, many of you came to us to train for a specific profession, and we're delighted that you chose to train with us here in Birmingham. We're the West Midlands, the region's largest provider of qualified staff to the NHS and the social care professions, as well as the only centre for programmes in speech and language therapy, diagnostic radiography and radiotherapy here in the West Midlands. I know that many of you will be staying on here to work in the region, but many of you will also be taking appointments elsewhere, and we have the confidence that you will carry the university's reputation wherever you go throughout your careers. It's been an incredibly busy year, as always, for the Faculty of Health. I was enormously impressed by the major incident simulation that the faculty undertook in March, where over 100 of you took part in. And it was bigger and better than before. You worked alongside many local partners and emergency services, and it really was quite a spectacular event. And it's a great example how our faculty and the university commits itself to giving you practical hands-on experience, even through simulated environment and simulated events. The faculty has also been committed to seeking out the best practice and broadening our understanding from beyond these shores. And I know that there was a group from the BSc in radiography that went to Canada to observe practice into another healthcare system. And another group of staff and students undertook a 62-kilometre trek through Nepal last October. And that was part of a study to gain insight into a different culture, to learn about health provisions in different countries, and to experience also the effects of altitude on the human body. That really is going the extra mile. The faculty has also continued to be at the forefront of supporting students. In October, they became the very first university faculty across the country to be awarded the Dyslexia Friendly accreditation by the British Dyslexia Association, with particularly acknowledged the faculty's supportive culture and environment. And I think that again indicates the support the faculty and this university adopts towards our students. And of course, the faculty has been raising its profile on a national stage over the past year. Students on the Speech and Language Honours programme staged a flash mob in the city centre in April as part of the campaign Giving Voice. And that actually raised huge amount of awareness, and I know that ministers were impressed when they heard about what you had actually done to give voice. We also gained national attention for the innovative Formula One Pit Stop Training Day, which gave students in our operating practice department the opportunity to develop the transferable skills in efficient teamwork. There's an enormous amount that you can learn from a pit stop of a Formula One simulation into how you can then use those skills in the operating theatre and actually doing it under pressure and doing it with great accuracy. And that certainly generated a lot of interest. And of course, several of our students have also been recognised nationally. Joshua Kernahan was named this year's Outstanding Student Nurse by the Cavell Nurses Trust. And Ayaz Mahmood and Jessica Byrne were both shortlisted in Student Nurse of the Year competition held by the Student Nursing Times under the mental health category. So well done to all of you. And finally, for some of you, you've become television stars in the past year. As you know, Birmingham City University students featured in BBC Two's The Midwives and ITV's Student Nurses, Bedpans to Bandages. Great coverage of you, but also it gave a public glimpse to the challenges of nursing and midwifery in the 21st century and the hard work and determination that goes into training. And we saw how hard some of you actually do work on your training and your courses. And the media has also brought us a share of stories related to social work this year, another career which requires huge personal commitment, often in the face of public indifference and misunderstanding. And I commend all of you who are choosing careers in the social services, whose rewards are far more to be found in the difference that you're making to people's lives than in riches or indeed in recognition. All of you today are stepping out into a world of constant change, of rapid development, of total innovation. Indeed, many of the jobs that some of you will take haven't actually been invented. They don't exist yet. But we're confident that as a result of your studies here and the practice element of those studies, that not only will you have the subject knowledge, but you'll also have the skills, you'll have the capabilities and the competencies to actually adapt to this fast-changing world that you will be part of in the future. In many cases, you will also help to shape that, and you'll probably help to invent the new jobs of the future. So be confident. And be confident too that the university will continue to be a part of your life throughout your career. I hope that every one of you here today realises that the significant part that you've played in the university's own success story. You'll be joining an outstanding body of alumni, many of whom have gone on to shape the world in many different spheres and sectors, whether it's improving health and well-being, boosting the economy, managing our environment, creating great culture and arts. We want to hear how you progress as you move on into your own success stories. So please keep in touch. You'll automatically become members of the Alumni Association, but it's important that we hear from you, that you let us know how you're doing and you can keep in contact with your friends, your fellow students as you move on into the future. Because you will always be part of the Birmingham City University community, and that's why we will be keeping in touch with you. Graduates, I'm sure that your studies will put you in great stead for what you move on to do in the future. Whatever challenges face you in the future, we believe that you're ready to move on and face those. We believe you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have all of the abilities. You may not know this yet, but when you receive your certificate after you've crossed the stage, you'll see the Birmingham City University motto on the top of that certificate. It says, Age quod agis, which means do and be the best. And so as you move on to the next chapter, please do and be the best. Have a fantastic day today. This day is all about you. Many congratulations and very well done. Thank you. We now turn to the presentation of the awards. Sadly, the first of these are to be made posthumously to Rosemary Cooper and to Melanie Larkin, two of our former students from the Faculty of Health. With the university's sincere condolences, I would like to first welcome Rosemary's family members to receive the posthumous award of BSc Honours Nursing on Rosemary's behalf. And also with the university's sincere condolences, I would now like to welcome Melanie's family to receive the posthumous award of BSc Honours Diagnostic Radiography, I apologise, on her behalf. I now call upon the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Health and Education and Life Sciences, Professor Ian Blair, to commence the presentation of award holders to myself, the Vice-Chancellor.
Vice-Chancellor, as Executive Dean, I present students from the Faculty of Health who have qualified for the award of degrees, diplomas and certificates. I commence by presenting candidates for the award of research degree. For the award of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Lifelong Battle, Perceptions of Type 2 Diabetes in Thailand, I present Dr. Nitima Supari. I now invite Helen White to present award holders from the School of Allied and Public Health Professions.
Master of Science in Advanced Practice, Nursing, Vicky Stacey. Sanna Fossen Bassink. Johanna Josefina Weirink. Anne-Marie Coates. Karen Green. Leona Jane Tassab. Postgraduate Diploma in Advanced Practice, Nursing, Gaynor Thomas. Master of Science in Health and Social Care, Hedvig Johanna Cornelia Maria Hillhorst. Sonia Annette Kuipers. Johan Willem Schroers. Imad I. Badran. Postgraduate Diploma in Image Reporting, with distinction, Heidi Visma Halverson. Postgraduate Certificate in Radiography, Appendicular Reporting, Geraldine Atwood. Nick Downing. Scott William Harrison. Postgraduate Certificate in Radiography, Computed Tomography, Crystal Victoria Chard. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Diagnostic Radiography, with First Class Honours, Claire Alcock. With First Class Honours, Alistair William Bardwell. With first class honours, Megan Elizabeth Collard. With first class honours, Gemma Corcoran. With first class honours, Georgina Eve King. With first class honours, Nazush Mabeen. With first class honours, Rebecca Murphy. With first class honours, Catherine Elizabeth Price. With first class honours, Shelby Danielle Sands. With first class honours, Tanya Louise Scott. Bushra Adele Ali. Roma Begum. Rosina Begum. Gurpreet Chagga. Lucy Jane Clays. Bronwyn Collins Jones. Matthew Curtis. Andrew Peter Derrington. Jessica Elizabeth Edge. Charlotte Elizabeth Fields. Charlotte Freer. Sheila Gleeson. Alfreda Tendai Ganes. Shepa Hadrami. Lee Hewitt. Farah Jabeen. Rosie Jones. Megan Kate Kempson. Sarah Killick. Anne-Marie Mays. Joseph Moore. Mairead O'Callaghan. Bethany Parker. Chandini Jasmine Palmer. Cameron Rashid. Alison Patricia Stokes. Amy Louise Thurgood. Evelina Tsvetankova. Kira Whitcroft. Mabina Alou. Sarah Armstrong. Henna Bassi. Cormac Behan. Matthew James Booth. Amber Sarah Marie Butler. Rajveer Singh Chagga. Simbarashi Wellington Chikawara. Rachel Corney. Daniel Crespo, Esther Oluwatosin Dogba, Joanne Marie Fellows, James Philip Fisher, Louise Marion Gallagher, Sonam Gogna, Leila Gul Mohammadi Kavaki, Belinda Kaur, Ian Kayanamura, Khadija Khatun, Nigel Brian Kidner, Musafiri Mayeka, Patricia McGuinn, Kudzai Masamba, Anthony Paul O'Connor, Jahir Rehan, Anna Eva Rybinska, Leanne Christine Taylor, Simon Whitehouse, Donna Andrea Haven, Eselina Muchinapaya, Bachelor of Science in Studies in Healthcare, Orbinder Singh Desi, Percy Guerreza, Bachelor of Science with Honours in Radiotherapy, with First Class Honours, Deborah Jane Branson. With First Class Honours, Deborah Chambers. With First Class Honours, Emma Dawn Cooson. With First Class Honours, Donna Marie Renshaw. With First Class Honours, Emma Elizabeth Salt. With First Class Honours, Emily Grace Saxon. Mercia Jane Edwards. Henna Ghalib. Sumer Singh Gill. James Mooney. Donna Marie O'Doherty. Katie Louise Vaughan. Zafreen B. Wajid. Megan Williams. Amelia Kanos. Sarah Louise Langston. Sashkand Kaur Sagu. Tashika Blake. Diploma of Higher Education in Studies in Healthcare, Sarah Emily Bradder. Certificate of Higher Education in Studies in Healthcare, Michelle Havinga. This concludes the presentation of awards from the School of Allied and Public Health Professions.
I now invite Roger Cobley to present the award holders from the School of Nursing, Midwifery and Social Work Professions.
Postgraduate Certificate in Dimensions of Healthcare, Adult Critical Care, Ria Con. Irish Cueto. Laura Margaret Mangra. Eleanor Oates. Jessica Wickens. Alois Zimunga. Postgraduate Certificate in Dimensions in Healthcare, Haematology and Cancer Care, Hannah Naomi White. Postgraduate Certificate in Dimensions in Healthcare, Neonatal Critical Care, Lucy McCarthy. Graduate Diploma in Midwifery, Rebecca Jane Kendrick. Veena Kaur Padda. Kiranjit Kaur Fanasan. Graduate Diploma in Nursing, RN, Shireen Fife. Graduate Certificate in Dimensions in Healthcare, Adult Critical Care, Errol Asajo. Joseph Nyabako. Julia Sampson. Graduate Certificate in Dimensions in Healthcare, Cardiac Care, Stephanie Terry. Graduate Certificate in Dimensions in Healthcare, Clinical Neurosciences, Marianne Byrne. Graduate Certificate in Dimensions in Healthcare, Trauma and Orthopaedics, Irma Jusic. Graduate Certificate in Dimensions in Healthcare, Trauma, Helen Bowen. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Donna Louise White. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Dimensions in Healthcare, Health Policy, Management and Leadership, with First Class Honours, Tracy Leanne Littlehale. Stephen Paisley. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Dimensions in Healthcare, Paediatric Intensive Care, Lisa Marie Brown. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Mental Health Studies, Adult Mental Health, with First Class Honours, Michaela Kankova. Christina Jacopi. Vim by Patients and Como. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Midwifery, Tracy Gregory. Rosie Catherine Heath. Tiana Roxanne Adela Jarrett Williams. Claire Jacqueline Marshall. Chayesta Parisa Danielle Azadaga. Safa Noor Koza. Suzanne Musa. Rachel Louise Worley. Susan Jones. Keely Oliver Bainer. Amanda Jane Badger. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Nursing, RN, with First Class Honours, Jennifer Louise Bohr. With First Class Honours, Tammy Brennan. With First Class Honours, Leonie Jane Mary Shellham. With First Class Honours, Sharon Wardingham. Chanel Holly Griffiths. Maureen Kelly. Michelle Helen Rigby. Laura Tennant. Kirsty Louise Ruth Veal. Deborah Maniana. Sundhya Parvi. Jessica Kerry Smith. Bachelor of Science in Studies in Healthcare, Pushpa Masi. This concludes the first presentation of awards from the School of Nursing, Midwifery and Social Work Professionals.
This completes the first presentation of awards to students from the Faculty of Health.
We are this afternoon absolutely delighted to be conferring the award of Doctor of the University upon Professor Robert Winston. I now call upon the University Orator to give the citation.
Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, colleagues, graduands. Today we confer the degree of Honorary Doctor of Birmingham City University, honoris causa, on Baron Winston of Hammersmith, known to millions as Robert Winston. Ladies and gentlemen, the poet William Blake wrote that he who would do good to another must do it in minute particulars. General good is the plea of the scoundrel, hypocrite and flatterer, for art and science cannot exist but in minutely organised particulars. Well, that's a rather bracing definition of what it means to do good, but something about it chimes with everyone here. When we look for help, not least medical help, the specific intervention is better than any number of bland good wishes. But maybe the definition is a little too bracing. And if you're looking for what it means to combine a wish for general good with minutely organised particulars, for what it is to be a true humanitarian schooled in the exacting disciplines of science, look no further than the pioneer of in vitro fertilization treatment, the prolific broadcaster and author, indeed, if I may say so, a living national treasure of British medical science, Robert Winston. He was born in July 1940. After studying at St Paul's School, he graduated from the London Hospital Medical School and then, in a premonition of his later media career, stepped aside from medicine to work in the other sort of theatre, even winning the 1969 National Directors Award at the Edinburgh Festival. You just can't keep a brilliant man down. The following year, he became Registrar of Hammersmith Hospital, and a succession of prestigious appointments followed. Associate Professor of the Catholic University of Leuven, Scientific Advisor to the World Health Organization's Human Reproduction Programme, Consultant and Reader at the Royal Postgraduate Medical School in London, and Professor of Gynecology at the University of Texas. His return to the UK in the early 1980s as Professor of Fertility Studies at Hammersmith initiated a period of exceptional innovation. He set up the IVF service at Hammersmith Hospital, doing pioneering work in the genetic diagnosis of human embryos and yielding a legacy of more than 300 scientific papers on human fertility. As Professor of Science and Society at Imperial College London, his reach broadened beyond the minutely organised particulars of IVF treatment and into the challenges and, above all, the general good science poses for society. Listing Robert Winston's many honours and distinguished fellowships would take us well into tomorrow morning's ceremony. So for today, it's perhaps enough to note that he sets a new Birmingham City University record as the recipient now, today, of no fewer than 17 honorary doctorates, so beating the previous record of 13 set by Melvyn Bragg. Most of us, of course, will be familiar with his face and his wonderfully kindly manner, not from his 300-plus referee journal articles, but his many appearances on BBC television, including series such as Superhuman, The Secret Life of Twins, Child of Our Time, and Human Instinct. And even as a broadcaster, Robert Winston's brilliance is well recognised. He won a BAFTA award for his series The Human Body and the Paris International Science Film Prize for Threads of Life. But it was not always an easy ride. In The Human Body, he swam in ice-cold water to show how little your body temperature drops, even when you're freezing, which is a reassuring lesson for anyone who has offices at our City North campus. As a broadcaster, he's embraced the biggest scientific questions of all in series such as Walking with Cavemen and The Story of God, which looked at the nature of faith in an age of science. Many of these series have translated into best-selling books, and more recently, Robert Winston's love of the minute particulars of art and science has borne fruit in the shape of a superb BBC Radio 4 series, The Science of Music. At this year's Hay Festival, he even launched his new pop-up children's book, published by Dorling Kindersley under the title Utterly Amazing Science. Ladies and gentlemen, some use popular media appearances for self-glorification, but in the best traditions of Reithian broadcasting, Robert Winston has approached his TV, radio and publishing work with the urge to convey an experience we wish on every one of today's graduates for the rest of their lives. That is, the experience of constant discovery, of the joy of finding solutions while remaining thirsty for more, the experience of thinking and working through minutely organised particulars, but with an eye for the general good of humanity. So, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, colleagues, graduands, it gives me enormous pleasure to invite the Vice-Chancellor to present for the degree of Honorary Doctor of Birmingham City University, honoris causa, Robert Winston.
As Vice-Chancellor, I exercise the authority of Senate and I confer the award of Doctor of the University honoris causa on Professor Winston. I'm delighted now to present you with the degree parchment and the commemorative medal. That completes the conferment of the award of Doctor of University honoris causa, but I'm delighted that Professor Winston won't be escaping without saying anything, and he'll be addressing this congregation a little bit later in the proceedings this afternoon. So I now invite Professor Ian Blair to continue the presentation of award holders.
I invite Roger Cobley to continue the presentation of award holders from the School of Nursing, Midwifery and Social Work Professions.
Bachelor of Science with Honours in Social Work, with First Class Honours, Elizabeth Bullock. With First Class Honours, Laura Jarrett. With First Class Honours, Amy Louise Morris. Samia Akram. Jackie Simferosa Ayo. Laura Baravkai. Indy Beddy. Danielle Rebecca Beasley. Emma Patricia Sarah Britton. Natalie Shirley Ann Burke. Tondarei James Choto. Jenna Doyley. Donna Lynn Fletcher. Mark John Guest. Joanne Louise Hall. Catherine Sarah Harris. Jessica Leigh Harris. Olivia Jane Hempsell. Sophie Bernadette Hendricks. Katie Louise Hodgson. Claire Emily Hughes. Tasia Alicia Hamas. Ikra Kataria. Shaona Kent. Christopher Godfrey Maffico. Rachel Rose Edith Matthews. Stanford Mavumisa. Anne-Marie Mailer. Matthew Hugh McKeary. Fiona Martina O'Riordan. Sarah Jane Piercy. Mandeep Singh Saray. Jessica Ann Scobell. Kimberly Smith. Hayley Emma Spencer. Daniel Takili. Eleanor Templeman. Danielle Jennifer Thompson. Stuart Andrew Thompson. Amy Rose Woodward. Tanzila Abbas. Misha Brown. Kimberly Jade Lockett. Stephanie Lopez Carter. Gemma Leanne Laughlin. Natasha Janine Rubin. Katrina Saunders. Rachel Lorraine Townsend. Melissa Aletha Woolley. Noella Jackson. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, with distinction, Glenys Robinson Liu. With distinction, Sarah Louise Wood. Claudette Jones. Philippa Kassam. Britta Anjay Muyang. Sandra Campbell. Enid Cecilia Daly. Donna Marie Hawkins. Yvonne Mann. Samantha Mason. Andrea Marie McCarran. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Adult Critical Care, with distinction, Mildred Riego. Laura Gabitas. Emma Louise Hamley. Sephora Thorpe. Margaret Isabel Cruz. Holly O'Sullivan. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Burns and Plastic Surgery, Kerry Ann Reaney. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Cancer Care, Sarat Jan. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Cardiac Care, Iwa Dorota Lawton. Cynthia Rose MacLeod. Nayaradzo Mushwai. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Clinical Neurosciences, Michelle Bishop. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Coronary Care, Lindsay Marie Hughes. Rebecca Catherine Wheeler. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Haematology, Christine Claire Lowy. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Health Policy, Management and Leadership, Beata Mukamakaba Nicole. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Infection Prevention and Control, Ian Charles Johnston. Sarah Swancott. Samantha Zinyemba. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Neonatal Critical Care, with distinction, Helen Hudson. With distinction, Kate Elizabeth Hunt. Emma Gardiner. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Paediatric Intensive Care, Kate Shirley. Bachelor of Science in Dimensions in Healthcare, Palliative and End-of-Life Care, Rachel Knighton. Nicola Jane Auld. Bachelor of Science in Management of Childhood Diabetes, with distinction, David Owen. Nazia Kauza Bhatti. Louise Cameron. Sharon Elizabeth McCallum. Bachelor of Science in Mental Health Studies, Adult Mental Health, Letween Maringisanwa. Diploma of Higher Education in Nursing RN, with distinction, Eleanor Jane Elizabeth Ackroyd. With distinction, Philippa Laura Allen. With distinction, Emma Louise Ashton. With distinction, Syra Bano. With distinction, Maxine Bourne. With distinction, John Herbert Beddoes. With distinction, Mark Charles Brady. With distinction, Jenna Elizabeth Brown. With distinction, Megan Shirley Burgess. With distinction, Harriet Kane. With distinction, Rani Chambers. With distinction, Darlington Terekuoni Chibudu. With distinction, Laura Bianca Clayton. With distinction, Judy Ann Dalton. With distinction, Laura Jane Davis. With distinction, Lindsay Marie Dolman. With distinction, Pollyanna Drury. With distinction, Holly Flanagan. With distinction, Sabrina Garnowski. With distinction, Tricia Gailey Rose. With distinction, Sophia Goodrich. With distinction, Laura Jane Goodwin. With distinction, Sarah Marie Halsey. With distinction, Kimberly Ann Hawksford. With distinction, Catherine J. Hodry. With distinction, Stephen James Holden. With distinction, Maria Ivanova Karadzova. With distinction, Gemma Kennedy. With distinction, Natalie Jade Kershaw. With distinction, Adele Ashley Long. With distinction, Laura Christina Maguire. With distinction, Sincere Makunde. With distinction, Ida Machoba. With distinction, Yolanda Marie McCallion. With distinction, Joshua Nathan Mears. With distinction, Eugenia Makwangwanya. With distinction, Shelley Mould. With distinction, Samantha Munuro. With distinction, Shanai Priska Nduna. With distinction, Karen Mandy Nichols. With distinction, Shannon O'Hurley. With distinction, Patricia Ann Porter. With distinction, Paul Ray. With distinction, Kelly Ann Savoury. With distinction, Caroline Short. With distinction, Melissa Claire Simpson. With distinction, Victoria Ann Simpson. With distinction, Lakin Stacey. With distinction, Matthew Storer. With distinction, Kerry Towie. With distinction, Anne Kathleen Vickery. With distinction, Carly Marie Want. With distinction, Elizabeth Marie Wilkes. With distinction, Natalie Wood. With distinction, Natalie Wright. With distinction, Claire Sashi Yendel. Patricia Adupoku. Shukri Ali. Elizabeth Etta Ayup. Carrie Ann Leslie Bash. Elizabeth Banner. Rosemary Byrne. Shabila B. Kerry Patricia Cannon. Noel Chigwadera. Rosemary Ann Denny. Brogan Louise Edwards. Rachel Margaret Ellis. Minella Ferratovich. Joanne Fraser. Julianne Greenhill. Louisa Nicole Hartley. Emily Holland. Paris Hyde. Leah Danielle Jenkin. Manjit Kaur. Sonia Kaur. Tanika Lang. Sean Lennon. Ethel Kapenda Lungu. Rebecca Georgina Lynch. Marianne Malabanan. Tashwana Hoshin Forbes McConnell. Nicole Barbara Makuti. Syria Munhuei. Eve O'Brien. Jackie Ann Alicia Parker. Hannah Margaret Peverell. Bernadine Rock. Hannah Louise Salter. Nicole Smith. Jessica Kainwen Spencer. Philip Spurrier. Suzanne Jane Swingler. Veronique Tishauni Nana. Danielle Tierney. Elizabeth Mary Wallace. Natasha Walters. Leanne Woodley. Sana Hamid Kasim Yafai. Alina Shauhan. Simon Paul Barnett. Emma Jane Bartlett. Roya Barugzai Syed. Ashmanara Begum. Natasha Pauline Bray. Adele Grazier. Ellen Teresa Breen. Hayley Cindy Brooks. Rachel Bryan. Rachel Lucy Canavan. Rebecca Chambers. Rowena Champaneri. Chimwemwe Chidea. Wingyi Whitney Chung. Melissa Elizabeth Conroy. Anthony Travis Robert Dannat. Louise Ann Dare. Narinda Daliwal. Harisa Dimitrova. Olverine Lana Edwards. Charlotte Fairs. Carrie-Anne Ferguson. Catherine Hannah Fletcher. Betty Ann Gay. Melanie Alexi Griffiths. Beth Grindrod. Jason Matthew Hall. Christina Maxine Joe and James O'Brien. Nima Monish James. Rebecca Jane Johnson. Ruth Wanjiku Karumba. Jane Elizabeth Kelly. Zaina Khan. Angharad Kumar. Lindsay Marie Leaning. Zoe Maria Melissa Lindsay. Rebecca Zara Loddy. Charlotte McKellar. Shmani Janoline Lasley. Karen Massey. Daniel George Mason. Abby Mawson. Amy McPike. Gift Moffat. Jose McQuarma. Laura Elizabeth Murphy. Feza Josephine Mwanza. Fortunat Nayandebvu. Mary Obeng. Pari Paridzenai. Demisha Patel. Lucy Elizabeth Roche. Ayodele Sarah Ruwai. Nadine Amara Squire. Leanne Marie Talbot. Ruth Josephine Taylor. Lavinia Cyrita Thompson. Fortune Sapo. Samuel Ukatu. Catherine Mary Walker. Beverly Eileen Sarah Witter. Lily Sean Wise. Joanna Donna Woodman. Certificate of Higher Education in Studies in Healthcare, Susan Redding. Timothy Madenyika. Lydia Matoko. Amrita Kaur Sandhu. Advanced Diploma in Professional Studies in Dimensions in Healthcare, Egi Chabata. Advanced Diploma in Professional Studies in Dimensions in Healthcare, Neonatal Critical Care, Shilmol Abraham. Jane Millward. This concludes the presentation of award holders from the School of Nursing, Midwifery and Social Work Professions.
This completes the presentation of graduates from the Faculty of Health. I now invite our honorary award recipient, Professor Robert Winston, to address the congregation.
Vice-Chancellor, the address of the public orator is slightly an embarrassment, I have to say. I just remember many years ago standing in front of my very frightening professor of obstetrics and gynecology, the late John McClure Brown, at the Royal Postgraduate Medical School. I was applying for a job south of the river at another university, and I showed him my CV before I posted it for him to look at. And he had these half-moon spectacles, and he sat me in his office while he went through my typewritten CV with a pencil like this, grunting, woof, 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 woof. And this went on for about 12 to 15 minutes. And then very slowly he looked up at me and he said, "Well, Winston, when I read my CV, I don't recognize myself either." My problem, I have to tell you, is that unfortunately your Vice-Chancellor, Cliff Allen, has got a very clear handle on my career, and he's heard pretty well all my healthcare jokes before. But he also knows, from what I've told him in the past when we were colleagues together at Sheffield Hallam University, that I am completely unfitted to receive a doctorate at any university, let alone an honorary doctorate, and one which is so prestigious as to be a senior doctorate of a university. When I took my biochemistry examination, I got the lowest mark ever recorded in the university, 17%. And during my pathology finals, which incidentally I genuinely did actually fail, the examiner handed me a pot full of some glutinous substance, and there was some fleshy thing inside it. And he asked me what disease the person had suffered from with this organ that was inside the pot. And I waxed lyrical. I thought I really knew that this was a piece of a kidney and this was nephritis, and I explained exactly how the vessels showed that this was quite clearly a condition where there was renal failure, and that the vessels were quite clearly quite in a very severe state, and I explained how he would have died and the sort of treatment he might have had. And then the examiner said, thank you. He said, supposing I told you that this was a piece of liver. And when it came to obstetrics and gynecology, I was, and it's interesting to see a few midwives crossing the stage today, I was the next candidate up for my viva in a hall like this. And as a final year student in medicine, I could hear my best friend being examined by the examiners in front of me. And the examiner was sitting on a stool in the center of a stage like that. And he had a little table with a doll, you know, a typical straw-filled fetus with a hard head, the size of a human baby at birth. And he had a human bony pelvis. You'll understand that. And you may understand, some of you who have done midwifery, what question is coming next. And I could hear what the examiner said. He said, now, tell me how you delivered the baby through the pelvis without damaging its brain. My friend, who was rather frightened and was never very good at obstetrics, gingerly touched the baby and pulled it a little bit, and the examiner pushed it through the pelvis, and he delivered it flexing the head as you're supposed to do. And fortunately for him, the baby was delivered. Very good, said the examiner. Now I want you to put the forceps on. And he handed these two Sheffield steel forceps to my friend. They're quite big instruments, obstetric forceps, about that long, they're quite big, and it's amazing that they fit inside the birth canal. And he locked them on the head of the fetus, and he pulled. Nothing happened. So he pulled harder, and nothing happened. And I must give you a tip. I hope for some of you, this may not be the last exam that you've taken. If you take another exam with a viva, one thing I would persuade you not to do is to put your foot up against the examiner's chair. What my friend did was to put his foot up like this to brace himself, and he pulled really hard, and nothing happened. So he made the fatal mistake of putting both feet up against the chair. He pulled incredibly hard, and as the baby flew through the pelvis, he went over backwards, the baby was on the floor, the examiner was on the opposite side, also on the floor, and the examiner slowly picked himself up, picked the baby up and put it on the table, and then grasping the forceps off the floor, he brandished them so that everybody in the hall could hear. He said, now hit the father over the head and you have killed the whole bloody family. I want to say one thing very seriously to you. You're entering what is the most astonishingly important and rewarding career. Some of you, of course, are already in that career that you could imagine. But I just want you to pause and reflect for a moment. We're at a time in healthcare of massive change when governments, I think, have often interfered wrongly with that institution, that great institution, the National Health Service. When all of us, no matter whether we're on the nursing side or the radiography side, or whether we're doing other treatments for patients, where we're under pressure, where we find ourselves not able to communicate, and we lose the risk of, we lose the one thing that we must remember, which is a really healing thing for all of us. And that is, it's very important for all of us to recognize that the one thing we should try to do is to listen to the patient in front of us. It's something which I hope you won't forget. That is a very healing part that we all have and we can all play in the health service. And the other thing I want to say to you, it doesn't matter what branch of healthcare you are in, whether you're out on the district as a health visitor or whether you're a nurse in a ward, I want you to remember, if you will, that you are in front, or somebody's in front of you, who is deeply vulnerable, who is at least spiritually, if not actually, naked, who's full of anxiety, who's worried the diagnosis is much worse than it really is, who's concerned about money for their family because they're going to be in hospital, and is generally concerned that actually there may be something very serious wrong with them. And you have colossal influence, colossal power at that moment. Last week, my next-door neighbour, Don, was dying in a major London teaching hospital. And he'd been ill for a very long time, and he'd been pretty well unconscious on the ward for about 2 weeks. And his lovely wife was sitting with him and talking to him. And the nurse came up and said, "Madam, there's no point in your talking to him. He's deeply comatose," and walked off. Now, let me tell you, the last sensation that we have is the sensation of hearing. When you have a comatose patient, the chances are they can hear you. We can detect brain activity on an MRI scan in people who seem to be brain dead sometimes. It's very important to remember that. And my friend, the widow, who is now dead, of course, went to the ward orderly and said to him, you know, he's not been... She went to the nurse first and said, look, he hasn't been shaved or washed for 5 days. Could somebody shave him? And the nurse said, that's not my job. And so she went to the ward orderly, and the ward orderly, who was a male, said, it's not really my priority at the moment, and walked off. Now, that is the environment that we are working in. And I want you just to remember that that is something that is incredibly powerful for all of us to try to avoid, to try to remember that we should have those ideals that you have. It's wonderful to see you coming up on the stage to get your awards. It gives me huge pleasure. It's a privilege for me to accept a degree here. It's a privilege because you will be contributing, if you practice medicine, when in whatever way, in a reasonable fashion, you'll be doing something of colossal importance to our society. But do remember that you may think sometimes that the NHS is demanding a great deal of you for very little in return. Do remember that actually it's not the NHS that really is your responsibility. It's the patient in front of you. And maybe I could just say to all your friends and relatives who are here, thank you so much for the support that you've given to the graduates of the university this afternoon. This means a great deal to the future of our society. Without people like you, we would be a great deal poorer. We would have a much less good society indeed. And perhaps I could just finally thank the university very much for this honour and to assure the Vice-Chancellor that I believe that accepting an honorary degree carries an obligation. And that means that in any way that I can progress or help or advance the university and its reputation in the future, I will do my best to do so. Thank you.
Indeed, Robert, it's a great privilege to have you now as part of the university community, and we will be asking you to return again and pass on some of your stories as well as your terrific advice as well, particularly the focus on patient care. And I'm sure, I know all of you will take and heed that advice as you go on into your careers in the health and social services sector. It was a great pleasure for me to greet you all as you crossed the stage. It was fantastic to see all your smiling faces, although a number of you were rather nervous as you approached this point. before you crossed the stage. There was one of your fellow colleagues who really took to heart their practical training. She was doing controlled breathing to concert. She was obviously a midwife, but did very well in managing to get across the stage. And also great to hear your families and friends testing out the wonderful acoustics of this hall as well. You can hear that they are tremendous acoustics. And many congratulations for those of you who managed successfully to get across the stage safely in some of the shoes that you were wearing. So we're coming to an end now, and I'd now like to invite Matthew Storer, who graduated earlier this afternoon from the Diploma in Higher Education and Nursing programme, and he's going to address you all on behalf of you, our graduates. Matthew.
Good afternoon. So my name is Matthew Storer, and I'm a graduate from the Diploma of Higher Education Nursing programme. There are a whole host of people I would like to thank on behalf of the Students' Union, graduates and guests here today. I would like to start by thanking our Chancellor. Thank you for taking time out of your demanding schedule to attend our ceremony this afternoon. We are grateful to you for the interest you have shown in our achievements here today and for helping to make this a truly memorable occasion for all of us. I would like to thank our honorary doctorate recipient, Professor Robert Winston, for sharing some of his thoughts and experiences with us. I'm sure that they have both given us some food for thought as we take the first steps in our respective careers, particularly midwives, by the sounds of it. So please also join me in giving our talented musicians from Birmingham Conservatoire, directed by Professor Chris Holding, a warm round of applause, as they have created a special atmosphere for this unique event. We must also recognise the encouragement and support that our family and friends have given to us all in our student journey. So in a moment, I will ask you to all stand, turn around and join me in giving them all a well-deserved round of applause. Louder than the one we had a minute ago, so let's do it. Your graduation is a celebration of your achievement and marks the beginning of an amazing journey. As you leave Birmingham City University and begin the next phase of your life, I hope that you take away not just the academic excellence and real-world skills, but that, like me, you will have many treasured memories, experiences and friendships. I send my warmest congratulations to everyone who graduated this year and wish you all every success in your future careers. I should now like to invite the Chancellor to close this afternoon's proceedings.
Thank you, Matthew. I now can declare the congregation closed. We'd be grateful if all of you could stand while the party from the stage processes out of the hall to the music accompaniment. Thank you very much.